Jaden Hicks is flying under the radar, but the tape shows a breakout is coming in 2025. Here's why the Chiefs' second-year safety could explode this season. We both were super high on 2024 NFL draft pick Jaden Hicks when he went to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now he's set up to be an important starter for Steve Spagnuolo's defense. Ryan, what were your expectations when he came out of that draft class?
Well, I had a top 50 grade on him, Joe. I'm reading directly from my conclusion in the blurb of the scouting report that I wrote about him. There aren't many safeties in the 2024 class who present as much versatility as Jaden Hicks. For a creative defensive coordinator, which Steve Spagnuolo is, he can line up at multiple spots on the second and third level of a defense. Hicks has the combination of size, length, physicality, and smoothness to develop into a starter down the road. We're in year 2, by the way. He could be an impact player in the right situation.
I love the way that you frame that. And he's also one of those players that just ended up being in that right situation, that Spagnuolo sees an athlete that he can capitalize on the mismatches that they can create. And I think the best part about this, when we watch some of the film, and we're going to get to the tape in a second, in a limited role, you saw a lot of what he's capable of becoming. And he also has some stats to prove it. He had, in 312 snaps last year, 24 tackles, 3 interceptions. He had 2.6 average yards of separation allowed in coverage situations, and then 2.3 yards after the catch allowed per reception that he gave up. So not only was he a guy not allowing a lot of space, but he was also a player that was stopping players from creating after the catch. Let's dig into the tape, Ryan, to prove why we think he's going to have a huge 2025.
I think one of the coolest developments we saw of him in a small role in 2024, Joe, was at Washington State. He was used a lot more in like underneath zone coverage. For the Chiefs, he was used a lot more in like 2 high alignments and even some single high alignments at times. And you see that proactiveness and the just initial instincts to understand the spacing here. Him playing in 2-man, so you have 2 guys over top, man underneath. You see that he's able to read the route combinations. There's nothing on the outside threatening vertically at all. So he's able to come on that underneath route, working towards the middle of the field, reads it well, stays over top, and able to finish for a huge interception for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, just to simply follow up with that, Ryan, I mean, you see that he's got a heads-up capability that CJ Stroud just fires this a little bit too high. This isn't necessarily like one of those plays. It's like crazy special, like he makes some diving catch and some just ridiculous read, but playing his assignment, showing that he can play over the top, and then just heads up play that he knows that this ball is overthrown, that he can come down with it and he can make a play on the football. And this was one of his 3 interceptions that show that he can be an impactful player when the ball is in the air.
Well, and I think the big thing about this play is that even if, like, again, you're right, it's not a special play in terms of range and just like this incredible athleticism, but the fact that he's in the right spot, the best case scenario is even if this is a better throw, I mean, he has a chance to have a huge collision on this play as well. So being in the right place is a big part of playing the safety position. From there, the explosiveness and the athleticism that he had is ultimately going to take over.
Ryan, this play that we have right here is like the perfect example of what Steve Spagnuolo does to create creative zone coverage shells. But I love seeing the communication that happens here where Hicks reads what Courtland Sutton is doing, and then he just attacks downhill. This is one of the biggest things that we talked about him coming out as a prospect, that he has the size and also the deceptive range for a bigger safety to just fly downfield. And then I mentioned at the beginning of this video how little he allows to receivers after the catch. Because he plants, goes, flies upfield, takes a great pursuit angle, he prevents anything from happening after the catch and turns what could have been a huge gain because of that huge lapse of space on the left side of the field.
Well, his best plays at Washington State was him robbing underneath coverage and being able to come to balance as a tackler in space. And that's what he does here. I am fascinated by this play, though, Joe, because I don't understand why this is his assignment, or if this was his assignment, or if this was him freelancing. I have no idea what his exact responsibility was on this play, but the fact that he was able to cut down ground so quickly, show that explosiveness, that closing range, and be able to make that type of play in space against not a bum, by the way. Like, Courtland Sutton is a really good NFL wide receiver. To be able to do all that in the blink of an eye, like, that is some special stuff to ability to make that play in space. Joe, it looks like some type of match cover 4 to me here. He's able to kind of obviously see the crossing route in front of him, and really, again, shows that for a bigger safety, he has really smooth change of direction, the ability to open up, and then ultimately to run, again, with a good wide receiver and able to come up with a pass breakup. That's a pretty special play, because ultimately what separates Jaden Hicks for me is, yes, he has that short area explosiveness. Yes, he's able to fly downhill. Yes, he has good smooth hips, but that proactiveness to see what is developing in front of him and then trust his eyes, that is about trusting your eyes, freelancing slightly, but ability to close and make that type of play is a pretty special thing for as big a safety as he is.
For as limited of snaps that he had, Ryan, I get really excited knowing that he's this aggressive with the ball in the air, and he's not stupid. Like there are sometimes rookie DBs that like see the ball in the air and this could be pass interference. He knows how to use his length to win, to stick his hand where this should have been a secured catch by, I believe it's Cortland Sutton again here. This could have been an easy catch for a guy that's got really reliable hands, but because he uses his size, and then you talked about that, fluid hip movement, that he's able to break down, close down, not allow any separation, and take advantage of a rookie quarterback trying to attack a very, very tight window.
When I think in moving into the 2025 season, I'm fascinated to see if they utilize this hip fluidity and the size that he has in some man coverage assignments, right? Like, does he become a little bit of a tight end eraser, a big slot eraser? A lot of upside in his ability to not only just be an asset in the run game and in the box, but clearly he has a lot of upside in coverage as well. Once again, we see Jaden Hicks rotating down. I'm not sure if this is a man coverage responsibility or if he's playing mid-hole and just reacting to something underneath. Not really sure what his responsibility is here, Joe, but all I know is this kid is explosive as all heck. Like, you see, once he sees red, he's able to transition with smooth hips and get downhill in a hurry. And one of my favorite things, again, of him coming out of Washington State, which is translated early, is his ability to tackle in space and not miss a ton, be able to come to balance. All those things make him an absolute dynamite player in short zone coverage.
So first of all, like you just talked about his ability to come to balance and his tackling ability, that pops on every single play. Like, this is consistent form tackling. He looks like a linebacker. He's tackling so well. It's hard to find safeties and defensive backs that want to tackle and know how to tackle as effectively as he does. But I just keep coming back to, Ryan, that it's clear that Spagnuolo, for the limited amount of time that he was on the field, that he was trusting him to play his instincts. And whenever he played his instincts, he comes down and he doesn't allow more than a yard or two after the catch. And that is where this becomes scary good, and why we're super high on him for what he can do this upcoming season as his role is carved out to him becoming a starter.
Well, Joe, I mean, to put it in the context here of how good Hicks was in a limited amount of time, as we see a couple of these clips, the fact that they let Justin Reed walk and we're just okay with Hicks being that now next level starter for them, I think that speaks volumes to just the impact he made in so many, just limited snaps. And I'm excited to see what he's able to do in a larger volume in 2025.
Folks, comment below. How good do you think that Jaden Hicks will be this upcoming season? Hit that like button and subscribe. We'll talk to you later.